time again for the binding. First, locate her heart, then pick up the stake and take down the barrier. I won't be checking your work with the heart from now on.
When I first heard about the game Silent Slayer Vault of the Vampires, I thought, a game where you're immortal, wandering around and killing vampires in every possible way. In my deduction, I overlooked the word silent, which is the first part of the title. So, when I delved deeper into the game and saw what it was about, I realized that it wasn't all bombastic, fast-paced vampire slaying. Okay, it's not bombastic in the sense of running around and decimating vampires left and right, but the game is still intense, albeit in a completely different way. It's slow, challenging, intriguing, and requires brainpower and patience to solve puzzles. However, reading about the game is one thing. Experiencing it in VR is another. Letters alone can't fully convey that immersive experience, but I'll do my best. In Silent Slayer, you play as a vampire hunter led to the tomb of a vampire clan. They've gathered there to perform an ancient ritual that will grant them incredible power. The ritual renders them vulnerable both day and night, as they must sleep in their coffins during the day, making it the perfect time for an attack. A mysterious book assists you by teleporting you to specific vampires you need to eliminate, but it's not as straightforward as it seems. When I started the game, the book, which also serves as the narrator, began telling me about the clan's history and the castle I was heading toward.
Your success against the foul creatures of your land, I judge you the most capable of slaying Clan Zar before the world falls into darkness.
The story intrigued me. It was well crafted. Although this is a static puzzle title, meaning you stay in one place or perhaps sit while solving various puzzles, I had no idea it would captivate me so much and drive me to continue after each vampire encounter. At the outset, before hunting the first vampire, the game explains the basic mechanics and techniques for killing a vampire. But here's the twist. Each vampire's coffin is protected by various defenses, whether magical traps, tricks, or voodoo dolls that scream when you open the coffin. There are all sorts of tricks, and it's up to you to learn, master, and overcome these obstacles. Locate the vampire's heart, and drive a stake through it. Pretty straightforward, right? The first vampire you need to kill is at the bottom of the hierarchy, meaning their defense isn't too strong. It's an excellent starting point for all players, whether experienced in 3D puzzle solving or newcomers like myself. Initially, you'll need to assemble a broken statue, which serves as a protective symbol for that vampire. Once you've put it together, runes will appear on the statue, providing part of the solution to reach the vampire's heart. Then you receive a teleportation medallion, and the game places you in front of the coffin, ready for the real challenge. The word silent truly comes into play here. Everything you do in front of the coffin must be silent. If a tool slips from your hand, the vampire will become suspicious, and a bloody vignette will appear at the edges of your field of vision. Make too many noisy mistakes, and the vampire will jump scare you, forcing you to restart the puzzle. Well, not entirely from scratch, only from the moment you solve the 3D puzzle of assembling the statue. The floating book from the beginning will always be there, offering advice on what to do next, although it won't always work. Once you've mastered a tool for opening the coffin, the book won't bother reminding you how to use it again. Over time, it'll say, "Okay, now you know what to do. No need for my help." And then you're on your own in this eerie adventure. Apart from being quiet, you also need to be quick. Not clumsily fast, as that would wake up the vampire, but carefully fast. If you hesitate while rearranging puzzles and removing obstacles, the vampire will notice that something's amiss and leap out of the coffin at you. Interestingly, there's no timer, and you won't know how much time you have left. You'll learn this by feel after encountering a few less challenging vampires at the beginning. So, everything you see on the screen is the coffin, your tools, the book, and the beautifully detailed interior of the vampire's castle. You'll have all sorts of tools at your disposal. Besides the stake you use at the end, there's also a magical heart that helps you locate the vampire's heart. You see, vampires can dislocate their hearts to prevent anyone from staking them in the usual spot. So, locating the heart is another part of the puzzle. Initially, driving the stake into the heart is straightforward, but later, with stronger vampires, after you've impaled them, you'll need to strike them with a magical stone to ensure they're truly dead. There are also metal scissors for cutting wires, a tool for pulling out nails, but the first obstacle is usually moving thick metal bars. Everything in this game makes noise, so you must be extremely quiet and careful in everything you do. If you drop a nail, the vampire will hear it. If you let go of the bar, there's a good chance it'll jump at you. Touching a metal wire with the scissors is a big mistake. And as I mentioned, a few mistakes and you're back to solving the puzzle from scratch. Haptic feedback is present, so vibrations will alert you when you've done something wrong, whether you've accidentally touched something you shouldn't or hit an obstacle. However, that's not a significant issue because the eerie environment, excellent sound effects, and the fun of solving puzzles always kept me engaged, even when I had to start over. The only problem was that the game features only 9 vampires, which you can kill in just a couple of hours once you get the hang of it. Another interesting touch is the constant sounds coming from the castle. Spiders will descend around you to distract or scare you, and you'll hear footsteps approaching without seeing anyone. The game tries various ways to distract you during the delicate tasks you must perform. Although it's a stationary game, I never expected to have this much fun. Whenever I thought, okay, I'll kill this vampire and finish to continue later, it never happened. After one vampire, the next puzzle with the statue immediately followed, and I was always curious about the shape of the current statue, how many parts it had, and whether I could assemble it. You see, the statues become more complex as you progress through vampire kills. Initially, it might be a simple little pyramid, but later, it becomes much more intricate with multiple sides and unusual shapes. The game also includes a pass-through mode, which eliminates everything around you except the coffin and the table with tools. This means you can hunt vampires in the comfort of your room, surrounded by familiar objects. Honestly, I didn't enjoy this mode because it takes away the fantasy of being in a vast vampire castle, but some players might find it useful. Silent Slayer, Vault of the Vampires, may not have been what I expected, but precisely because of that, it pleasantly surprised me. I couldn't stop playing, and as I neared the end, I had to slow down because I didn't want the game to finish. I hope Shell Games adds more vampires as time goes by, but even if they don't, this is an excellent and brilliant 3D puzzler.
Finish the binding or it will fail. An unworthy ash heap, a waste of immortality.